Hey page turners, welcome back to the Hinterlands. Today I've got a bunch of comic related mail to go through. Here's part of the stack. And here's the rest of it. Let's take a look. The first book that I've got is called The Marvel Age of Comics, written by Roy Thomas. It details the comics Marvel put out between 1961 and 1978. I kind of have the hopes of, not probably through the original comics, but through the reprints of reading through from the start, Fantastic Four #1 right on through, and see if I could do that with some of the Marvel Essential reprints and that kind of thing. But Roy Thomas would be a good reference for that period. He was the successor to Stan Lee, and he did a lot of writing, editing, brought Conan to Marvel. Marvel Age of Comics by Roy Thomas, about 500 pages. Looking forward to poking through it. Roy Thomas, he was behind the scenes in a lot of things, so I'm sure there's a lot of good anecdotes in this book. The next several books are all reprint books of the Batman stories, the Batman Chronicles. This is volume 2. These are all in color. The Chronicle series, they put out all the comics in the order. All the volumes are in the order that the stories appeared. So you might have a combination of different comic book titles depending on what the superhero was appearing in. So this is volume 2. This has Detective Comics 39 through 45, Batman 2 and 3, an appearance in New York World's Fair, 1940, which I think has got to be a one-shot. Then we have Batman Chronicles Volume 3, same story. And most of the stories, probably maybe all of the stories in this time frame, were written by Bill Finger, supposedly drawn by Bob Kane, but he had a lot of ghost artists, but back then probably was Bob Kane. This book reprints Detective Comics 46 through 50 and Batman 4 and 5 and the appearance, Batman and Robin's appearance in World's Best Comics #1, which later on, of course, became World's Finest Comics. It only was World's Best that one time, and I think DC got into a little legal hassle, so they changed the name. All right, continuing on theme, Volume 4, and same story, Bill Finger, Bob Kane, Detective Comics 51 through 56, Batman 6 and 7, World's Finest Comics 2 and 3. Again, these are all in color. Volume 5 collects 57 through 61, and Batman 8 and 9, and World Finest Comics #4. And then we jump up to number 10. Not quite as good a copy. It's all still there. And that collected Detective Comics 78 through 81, Batman 18 and 19, and World's Finest Comics #11. Then we've got a couple of, these are manga collections. I believe these probably appeared in serial form in Shonen Jump. And I'll try not to mangle the author's name. Story and art by Tsuyoshi Takaki. And you probably know, or might know, the Japanese manga is, the original stuff is read backwards to what us Westerners are used to. So you start in the back and work your way to the front. I had gotten enough credit to get one of these for free from Thrift Books, so I picked up 1 and 2. It looked kind of intriguing. All right, then we go to Flash Chronicles Volume 1. This has Showcase 4, number 4, 8, 13, and 14, and Flash 105 and 106. Flash showed up in Showcase Comics. That was his the return of the Flash. This is like the Silver Age Flash, the Golden Age Flash back in the 40s. This was like a reworking of that original character from the 40s, and they brought him back in showcase number 4, which in a lot of cases for DC was the start of the Silver Age for DC. Now this is DC Showcase Presents, and they're all in black and white. But if you're, and these are out of print. I think the Chronicles and the Showcase Presents are all out of print. But if you can find them in a book sale or something, I'd pick them up. If you're looking to at least get the storyline and the artwork, they're pretty good. They're a pretty good option. You're not going to break the bank. The difference being between the two. All right, that's volume 1. These are all in color, but you're only going to get a few issues, or I should say maybe a few stories. So there's 6 stories in this, and I believe there's about 20 issues of the Flash. Between the Showcase and the Flash comic itself, there's about 20 issues. So 20 issues, 6 issues, 6 or 8 stories. It depends. This gives you a more a reading experience, more like a comic book in the old days. But this will get you the storyline. So five volumes of this will get you about 100 issues of the Flash. I'm not sure they put out 5 volumes. Let's see, there's the color version. And then this one, kind of interesting, it's the last issue of the 40s Flash. So they continued the numbering of the 40s the Flash. They continued the numbering of the Flash from the 40s when they brought the Flash back. You've got the Flash comics. They reprinted number 104 in here, which is the Golden Age Flash. They reprinted that last story, and then they jump into the Showcase when they bring it back. So only 6 years had elapsed between the Golden Age Flash and Silver Age Flash, and the artist was the same in both stories. It's Carmine Infantino, which I thought was kind of interesting. And John Broome did the writing on all of these Flash stories. John Broome was the writer, and Carmine Infantino was the artist, pretty much through all those stories. You don't see that very often these days. Continuing the Flash subject, this is when they brought the Flash back after they had killed him off in Crisis on Infinite Earths. And this was originally a 6-issue miniseries. Jeff Johns, writer, and Ethan Van Sciver was the artist. So I haven't read this yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Then we go back to the 40s. This was actually a Buddhist superhero, Green Lama. This is a hardcover, volume 1 from Dark Horse. And it has the first 4 issues of the Green Lama comic book, and all the stories that were in that comic book are actually in this book. So you got 4 issues of comics, complete with all the backstories, all the other characters: Boy Champions, Angus McGurk, Rick Masters, Lieutenant Hercules. The reason I wanted to take a look at this was the art of Mac Raboy, or Raboy. He also did Captain Marvel Jr. comics. Pretty good artist. Green Llama. All right, another DC Showcase Presents. This time it's the Atom. And this is volume 2. It's still got about 20 issues in it. It goes from the Atom comic, it goes from issue 18 to 38. And there again, it's all black and white, but you get 20 issues of continuity. And there's also one of the issues has the Golden Age Atom from Earth 2 is in the book. These next books are The Adventures of Tintin, and The artist and writer, I would think it's pronounced Hergé. These are older stories, and they span a lot of years. You can see if you get some of the early ones right on through to the end, you can see the growth of the artist. These are all like self-contained stories. That's the Shooting Star. There's another one, Black Island. And these are all take place in different parts of the world. Black Island, obviously that's a Scottish. And the Castafiore Emerald. So there's 3. And there's I think there's about 24, 25 books. I mentioned Carmine Infantino earlier. So I picked up these 2 books about him. This one's a hardcover. And I thought it was interesting that the stories, even though I'm pretty sure Carmine did both covers, that he pretty much picked the same motif of what he had done earlier. This was done earlier. I believe this was done later in life. 2 books on the work of Carmine Infantino. And as I said, he did work back in the 40s on the Golden Age Flash. And then when they brought the Flash back years later, he did the artwork on that. And he did a lot of the 60s Batman covers, and I think he did some interiors. Worked on the Flash. You should check him out. if you've never seen his stuff, check him out. His later stuff, in his later years, not as good, of course. That happens. His early stuff, I think, is great. If he gets a good inker, that's great. These last 2 items, you've got the Superman Chronicles #7, and this collects Action Comics 41 through 43, Superman 12 and 13, and World's Finest Comics #4. Earlier I talked about the Batman Chronicles. That also had a story from World's Finest Comics #4, but I don't think they were in the same stories back then. I know these I checked, and the 2 stories, it's a solo Batman and a solo Superman story. So I'm not sure when they actually cross paths. And then lastly, the history of Superman, Les Daniels. Les Daniels has done a lot of books on history of the comics, probably at least a half a dozen. I wanted to check this out. Well, I guess that does it for this session. I hope you will subscribe and give me a like. I appreciate it. And we'll catch you next time around. Thank you.